Batter up.
Rob and Chris, they're on the air. Yankees, Mets, they're everywhere. From the Bronx to Queens, the diamond gleams. MLB talk, the ultimate team. MLB is the place to be. Rob and Chris with the pitch you'll see. Swinging stacks and stories fly. Baseball talk that's amplified.
And welcome to a new episode of NYMLB Talk with your hosts Rob and Chris as we cover the Mets, Yankees, and all of Major League Baseball. And if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that sub button. We'd appreciate it. And if you want, you can follow us on Twitter/X and also on TikTok at NYMLB Talk. Follow Rob at Armaraska and myself at CP7NY. So, Rob, what's up?
Hey, thanks, Joe Dell, by the way. We appreciate it.
Yes.
The hot stove is starting to get hot, right?
Yes.
In a week, we have the winter meetings coming up, and a lot's going to happen there. And, I'm just looking forward to it. Baseball has been done for a month already, believe it or not. And, it's you miss it. You miss it, right?
Oh, absolutely. Especially the way it ended in that great World Series, even though neither one of our teams were in it. It was still a great World Series, and it was probably the best one we've seen in a long time. I miss baseball. Once our teams are out of it, I miss it. You start to miss it, right? Because now you're not, it's not your team that you're rooting for or against or whatever. But yeah, definitely, like you said, it's a month and it's tough. But spring training is about 100 days away, so it's close. It's not that far, so we can make it. We got to get through the winter, but we'll make it.
Yeah, try it. It'll be here before you know it. Let's face it. Everything goes so fast, so it'll be here. But there's a lot of things that have to happen before spring training or before the regular season, because some stuff still happens during spring training. So we got a lot going on, Chris. What do you want to start off with?
Well, hey, let's start off with the news about Ryan Helsley signing with the Orioles, former Met. Obviously, I didn't think he was coming back, right? I didn't think you thought he was going to come back either. But Helsley signs a 2-year deal, $28 million with the Orioles, with an opt-out after the first year. Well, what are your thoughts on that signing?
Well, I think one of the problems coming to the Mets was that he wasn't the closer, that he was the setup guy. I think that, he really wasn't prepared for that. I think that probably got in his head. He's going to be the closer for the Orioles, and that's what he wanted to do. So let's see how, and it could be New York too. Maybe he's one of those guys who can't pitch in New York. Although I was so shocked to see him, and maybe he just said this, that he enjoyed his time in New York. Could you imagine that?
Yeah, I don't know how he could have enjoyed it, because how he pitched and how the season ended for the Mets. Yeah, I don't know how much you could enjoy that, but that might have been just, talk, going into free agency. You don't want to burn any bridges, right? You don't want to say, I had a miserable time, I ain't going back there, and knock that shot out. But yeah, I think it was a good move. I mean, obviously Baltimore needs it. They could use another starting pitcher, obviously, to go with their guys like Trevor Rogers. But yeah, this is going to help, because I know Bautista's hurt, so whenever he comes back, and then now you got Helsley. Listen, when they're both healthy, that's a good, 8th, 9th inning combo there for the Orioles. That's really good. So if they could sign one of the starting pitchers, one of the top starting pitchers, that's a really good offseason for them, and then we'll see what they do with their lineup as well. But I think it's a good signing. I just didn't like what we heard. I don't know if you heard it too. Like teams were thinking of putting him into the starting rotation and making him into a starter. That I don't like. Dude, the guy throws 100. Put him in the bullpen. Let him throw 100 for an inning or so, and let him close games or set up, whatever. But yeah, keep him in the bullpen.
Yeah, everyone thinks they could get a Clay Holmes deal or something like that, where they become great starters. That, most of the time it doesn't work out that way. Hey, what's up?
What's up?
We appreciate you on Friday night and tonight.
Yes.
I mean, and this afternoon. Anyway, I think so. What do I think? I think that it is a good move for the Orioles. I think that the Orioles had to do something because we've been hearing for the past 2 years about the owner having money, but he really didn't spend it. Last offseason was horrible for them. It was horrible, and they needed to do something with this young team. And I think this is a good move. We'll see how he, going back into the bullpen. We will see how it goes. And he has an opt out. So if he has a great year and wants to make some more money, he could opt out. Although we know what's going to happen at the end of next season. We've been talking about it,
right,
all season. The work stoppage. But right now, I think
what? It's really good to have that opt out for players after this season because of that. So if they see that it's going to go one way, where, I might be out for a while. Yeah. You know what? I'll keep or whatever. Either way, it's good to have that option if you pitch really well or not, or, so yeah, actually that's a really good point there too, as well. So, but overall, good signing.
Yeah. And Rubenstein is in favor of a salary cap.
Of course. Listen, they all want a salary cap deep inside. Even you may not want to hear this, but Steve Cohen would want that as well, right? I don't think any owner wants to spend $350 million on payroll every single year, right? Like the Mets, like Cohen, I think has to now because of all the things that he said. Like he can't go back on it and say, all right, we're going to roll this back to $200 million payroll. Like he ain't doing that. Like he's kind of stuck into this because he promised, hey, I want to win a World Series within 5 years and all this stuff. So, but I think overall the owners would love to have what the NFL owners have and NHL owners, right? Where they know that everybody's on, an even, pay scale or whatever. So, even though it would take away the advantage the Mets have, the Yankees have, the Dodgers have, and the Phillies, there's that top 5-ish teams that have that advantage that could say, okay, we're going to spend another 50 million more than everybody else, or 100 million more or more. And they won't be able to do that if there is a cap. So it's, I think it goes both ways.
And thank you, Maria. Good afternoon. And we were gonna bring that up a little later about Cohen and his great news. So we will bring that up in a little while. Yeah. So we both agree that's a good move for the Orioles. I think so. I think that I said it on Friday night, right? I think that American League East is going to be really tough, Chris. The Yankees got to start making some moves.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. This is probably going to be the toughest division in baseball with the way it's going right now. I mean, every team is going to be competing for a playoffs, right? Or going to be playoff contenders without a doubt, right? Boston, is going to be better. The Yankees are going to be the Yankees no matter what. Toronto just came off winning, within 2 outs of winning a World Series. So they're going to be good. And then you got to add in Baltimore now. Baltimore's going to be better than what they were last season.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right? And Tampa's back into their dome where that's the way they play. That's where they design their team to play in that dome. So automatically they're going to be a little bit better than they were last year. So it's going to be ridiculous how good this division's going to be. But obviously they all are not going to make the playoffs. It's going to end up 1 or 2, maybe 3 at the most. But man, you're going to have a lot of good teams that aren't going to be in the playoffs if everything goes the way it's supposed to, right?
Yeah, it is. And Toronto is serious, right? I think, we're going to see a couple more moves with Toronto before the off season's over. And listen, they got a taste of it. The whole country was behind Toronto. All of Canada was behind Toronto, right? There isn't any more Montreal Expos there, right? So Toronto's it for Canada. And like you said, that World Series was amazing. You have to admit, even though Toronto kicked the Yankees out of the postseason, Chris, That was
Oh,
some World Series.
oh, absolutely. I agree 110%. That was a great World Series. And then when you think about the viewership, the TV viewership, not only did you have, America, but you had all of North America, right? Because you just said the Toronto was representing the whole country of Canada. So they're all watching it and rooting for the Blue Jays. And then with the Dodgers, they had Ohtani. So now you have that international viewership
Yeah.
as well,
Oh,
right? So
yeah.
MLB couldn't have asked for a better matchup, really, this past World Series. So like we've been saying, let's hope they don't screw this up next off season and have a long work stoppage. Hopefully it's not that long and they don't miss any games.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Now we have to let's get into this Lindor Soto thing that's going on. All right. And we touched on it Friday night when it first came out. Now we know a little more after the weekend. What is your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I think it's getting blown out of proportion, to be honest. The McNeil thing, I think, is real. You said it yourself. You even seen it yourself, I should say.
Yes.
That there was an issue, and McNeil is not exactly the most liked guy throughout the league. So that one makes more sense. The one with Soto, just because Soto is not a guy who likes to, wear whatever, certain clothes or something. And, Lindor might be a little more flashy, but that has nothing to do with how they play on the field, right? I mean, Lindor is the catalyst of the team. He's the leadoff hitter, all that stuff. So, possible captain of the team too. So I don't think there's a problem between the two. I mean, listen, it might be, but from what they're saying, just because one's into fashion and the other one isn't, that to me makes no sense. So I think it's being blown out of proportion.
Yeah, it's so stupid. I mean, nowadays they talk about the clubhouse more. It's different than it was back in the day. All right. The Oakland A's, when they won those 3 consecutive World Series in the 70s, 72, 73, 74, they couldn't stand each other. They were fighting in that locker room. Okay. Let's talk about the Big Red Machine. All right. Johnny Bench didn't like Pete Rose. All right. There was players on the Big Red Machine that couldn't stand anyone. The Yankees, right? In the 70s, the Bronx Zoo, with Reggie Jackson, a lot of them couldn't stand each other, and they still won. So you don't have to like the guy, but you do have to play as a team, right? So, yeah. Lindor is flashy. Lindor comes up to the plate. My girl, they all sing and all that stuff. It's sometimes that just drives me crazy. But it's just I think you're right. I think it's probably blown out of proportion. But okay, Jeff Lindor is real. They fought. Yes, they did. That's right. I forgot about the rat or raccoon.
Right. Yeah, I remember that stupid story. Yeah, whatever. And that's going to happen. Things like that are going to happen. You're with, a group of guys for, all season. Stuff like that is bound to happen, right? It's just human nature. To not like somebody just because they're into fashion or how they dress, I think that's stupid. Because listen, Soto's a guy that plays every single day, right? He's a guy that shows up and plays every day. He's very serious. If you do the same thing, and Lindor basically does the same thing, he's not a guy that takes a lot of games off or anything like that. So I think this is blown out of proportion. The McNeil thing is real, and plus it just gives them another excuse to get rid of him because right now he has no role on the team. He's a bench player making $15-16 million, and you could probably get a guy for less than half of that to do what he could do, right? To be that utility player. Because McNeil's not hitting that great anymore where you're like, oh, he's worth it to keep. He's not worth it right now. He's just not. So, listen, if you could trade him for something, that's great. You free up cash. You free up a roster spot. Maybe you get a bullpen guy, which you need. I don't know. But he's definitely, a waste at this point. Yeah,
he does. You're right. He does love golf. That's for sure. You always hear about that.
So maybe the Braves?
Listen, here's what I think. I think that probably McNeil's time with the Mets, it's time to go, I think. It's just time to go. We've spoken about breaking up that team a little bit. And I think McNeil, see what you could get from McNeil. Maybe you'll probably have to pay some of that contract. But yeah. I just think just think it's time. I really do. All right,
there you go. All right. There you go. The fans have spoken. We want him off the team. I would think if you have a vote right now, most fans would probably not want McNeil back either because, like I said, he doesn't play second base, right? I mean, he can't play second base now because now you got Simeon out there. He's not going to play third. You probably got Beatty there right now. So he's just a backup, and he's an expensive backup to have. You don't want to play in the outfield every day in center of all places. So, if you could get something for him, pay down the contract a little bit, sure. But if you could get something for the guy, do it.
Oh yeah, I agree. But let's move on now to Pete Alonso. We're hearing reports about the Red Sox, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I think Boston. It's either going to be Alonso, Bregman, or Schwarber going there. One of those three guys is going to end up in Boston. I'm sure Bregman is probably their number one because they probably need a third baseman more than where they're going to put Alonso, either at first or DH. But I think one of those three guys. Schwarber's been there already. So, and they, and you hear them all the time. They should have never got rid of him in the first place. So I think one of those three guys is going to be in Boston. And I would hope the Mets are going to get the guy that doesn't sign with Boston, right? So if Boston doesn't sign Bregman and signs Alonso, then you know what? They should sign Bregman, right? He would be perfect for third base. I think I've been saying that. He's perfect. You guys need a leadership type of player. He's definitely that. You'll never hear anything about a captaincy again if he's there. So I would think Bregman's probably. I know the Alonso one. There's more of the fan attachment to it, right? Because Alonso's been here since day one, so of his career. But yeah, I think one of those. I think those are the two. Yeah, and then maybe Schwarber ends up back with Philly, or what if Alonso goes to Philly? Can you imagine that?
I don't know if Steve Cohen's going to let that. I don't know if Steve Cohen's going to let that.
Yeah, I would hate to see that.
Okay, I would hate to see that. I don't know about that. But Schwarber, listen, Schwarber could hit. He's a DH now. He does strike out a lot, though. He struck out 197 times last season and the season before that. So that's a lot of strikeouts. But the guy has power. He does everything else. I mean,
he's going to hit 40-ish home runs every game. And especially, like I said, you need one of those guys because you need one of those guys to protect Soto in the lineup. A righty would be better. It would be better to have Soto than Alonso going right behind him. And then, you add another lefty bat behind Alonso would be perfect. But, imagine if they signed Alonso and Schwarber. Right, that's a good right. That would be amazing. I don't know if
that would be great.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll do that, but
it's a lot of money.
One of those guys has to be a Met.
Yes,
right. Has to.
One of those three guys. Plus, remember Diaz. Listen to me. The Mets have to sign Diaz. We spoke about this Friday. Diaz is a proven closer in New York, okay? And not just a regular closer. He's a championship. And right now,
who is the closer if he doesn't come back and they don't add anybody? Who would be technically the closer?
They'll have to go Williams.
If they sign him, right?
Do they turn one of the three starters and not McLein, of course. Do you turn one of those kids into a closer? I don't know. That's a good question. That's listen.
It's almost it's a given that they're going to sign a closer or trade for one. But I would think they don't have a closer on the team. I totally agree. And I think Diaz should be a guy that, to me, he's a guy that they should have signed already, right? It shouldn't even be it shouldn't even get this far. So,
are you hearing other teams though with Diaz with other teams?
Not really. I think the only other team we heard a little bit was the Dodgers, possibly.
Yeah, and
But
then
then
they
they said
said,
no. So I think the Mets would be crazy not to sign him. Just get it done. This way, you know what? If you and don't feel like, I'll take care of him. We'll get together with him later. No, get rid.
no.
Sign him now. Get him out of the way. This way, you don't have to worry about it, because you know what? The longer he stays out there, the longer it's going to give a team. See, that would be a perfect offseason for the Mets.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, who wouldn't love that? I'd love that. But
yeah,
we have to see what the Japanese players are gonna. When do they have?
They have to the end of December, I think.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought. Like January 1st or
something like that. Yeah. So
that's
another month to go.
I think there's going to be a lot of talk about that in the winter meetings too. Like maybe their representatives are going to fly into Orlando. Of course they are. They're going to go into Orlando. Absolutely. They have to. I think
they've said Amai's market is already heating up, so we might see something at the winter meetings on him.
Dan, listen, Dan, I want the Mets to resign Alonso. I do. Alonso is going to want the most money. I don't think any of these players are giving home team discounts anymore. I think Judge did it, and that's it. I don't know anymore. Things are different. I just want the Mets. I do want the Mets to sign Alonso and Diaz, and then I'd like the Mets to get Bregman. But how much money is this going to cost? It's going to cost a lot of money. So
no matter what, it's going to cost a lot of money, regardless. So, and listen, that's the one thing Cohen does have, right? That's the one plus with him. So I don't think there's going to be a problem with signing him. It's just a matter of, I think I look at it this way: Stearns, if it was up to Stearns alone, no, I don't think Alonso would be enough.
No,
Bregman, 4-year deal, whatever he gets, 5-year deal, right? Put him at third. Then you got Beatty either as your backup or possibly trade bait, right, for someone else. So it's going to be interesting, though, what direction they go in, because they can sign any one of those three guys. Any one of those three guys that we mentioned.
Oh, of course.
Plus on top of Diaz. But I think Diaz is so important to come back, because you kind of roll in the dice a little bit. Even if you'd sign who's available? I think Suarez, the guy that was on the
Suarez, right? Yes.
He's really good, but you know what? Can he do it in New York? I don't know. Doing it in San Diego and doing it in New York, two totally different things, right?
I agree. And we know, listen, we've had Mickey Callaway on here a bunch of times, and we've mentioned this. He said he knows how much Alonso loves playing in New York, right?
Yeah.
But all they have to do is show him the money. And it's still, you heard today the Red Sox, right? But it's you haven't heard a lot from other teams.
No.
It's like last offseason. I think after the season he had this year, you would be hearing more by now. Things got to heat up in the winter meetings, I think, Chris.
I agree. I think we'll start to hear more next week for all these guys, right? But if it's just amazing how we're not hearing a lot about Alonso. Like, what else does this guy have to do to get that big contract from somebody? I get it. Okay, he's not a good defender at first. All right, he's improved, but he's still, average to below average, right? He's still not a guy you want out there. But still, the bat is productive. I can't imagine him putting him out there in at Fenway, right? Can you imagine him in Fenway?
Yeah.
Oh my God, his numbers would be crazy there, hitting it off the green monster all day.
I agree. Yeah, that Schwarber, Tucker, Valdez, and King would be.
There you go. So just a few guys.
Another. Yeah, you guys are coming up with some good stuff. Okay, so the Mets. Before we switch away from the Mets also need starting pitching, right? I mean, they have the three young kids.
I think one guy. I think you
one
can get away with one because what was it? Okay, the talk was they were thinking of trading Senga, and Senga wants to stay here. So what are your thoughts on that?
Listen, he started off, Senga, he started off strong, and then he got injured. and then he came back, and then he got injured, and then he came back, and then he got injured. You know, with that ghost ball, Chris, if he's not injured, yeah,
Right.
you know, but has the rest of the league figured him out too? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, he was banged up a lot last year, so you kind of could throw that year away of what he did. I look at it this way: if you're going to trade him, now is not the time to trade him because you're trading him at his lowest, you know, at his lowest value right now because of the season he had, right? So if anything, I think they should let him pitch for a while. You know, let him build up some value. Then if you want to move him, you move him. But I wouldn't trade him now because I don't know what you're going to get for him. And you still need a starting pitcher, right? So I'd rather have him right now.
Yeah, and the question does come down to it. If they, you know, maybe they do have to trade either Senga or Peterson. Which one do they trade? Peterson, you know, last year he had some greatness with the complete games, and then, you know, didn't look so good. So he's another one. But one quick thing I wanted to ask you, Chris. You've been hearing a lot about the Mets and Framber Valdez, right?
Yeah.
From Houston. What do you think about that?
I love that move for the Mets. If they do sign a starter, I mean, that guy's playoff proven, World Series proven, right? Being on the Astros, he's pitched in some big games. So I would be all over that. And he's pretty durable. I don't think he's been hurt that much. He is a little bit older, but still, I think he's been really good. That to me makes a lot of sense for the Mets.
Yeah, and you know what a plus? There's two pluses with him. All right, although he was 13-11, he had a 3.66 ERA, but he limits home runs and he induces ground balls. So with that new infield the Mets have, right? That would be a good thing, you know. So we'll see. That's another possibility. All right. So
think about it. In 3 of the last 4 years, he's made 31 starts.
Yeah, and Dan says, can he pitch in New York? We don't know, but he's pitched under pressure.
Yes. Yeah, I would say yes because he's pitched so well in the playoffs, in the World Series. Like he's pitched a lot. Being in, you know, he's made 16 starts in the playoffs and the World Series. Okay. In 2022, I think he was the MVP of the playoffs. He wasn't the MVP, but in 2022, when they won the World Series, he was 3-0 in 4 games that he pitched in the playoffs and the World Series.
Yeah, he was great that year. And so that's another possibility. Plus now they're saying a Skubal trade is unlikely.
Probably,
I don't know.
I think Detroit doesn't want to do it, you know, because of the I just think because they know that they know the fans are just going to rip them for doing it.
Yeah.
You know, because he's a very wealthy owner, the Tiger owner, right? But you know, so that's going to be thrown in their face. Oh, just sign him, But if you're going to trade him, I think we've talked about this already. If you're going to trade Skubal, now is the time to trade, right?
I agree.
Back-to-back Cy Youngs, two great seasons, in a row. You're going to get top value for the guy. If you're going into the season, what if he has a bad year? What if he gets injured? All that stuff. To me, you're taking too much of a chance. So for me, I would trade him now.
Yeah, I would, and the Mets have the pieces to trade for him. But you know, I could see Detroit. The fans will go crazy in Detroit, and you know they don't want to piss off the fans. So let's see what this says. Tiger ownership is worth $6.9 billion. Yeah, he owns the Red Wings.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good. He's got a few bucks.
Yeah,
he
he's
should
up
be
there.
able to sign him.
Yeah, he's up there. He should be able to sign him. All right, so let's go to the Yankees quick. You got any Yankee news, Chris, you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean they did bring up I think it was who's the Reds GM? The former Reds GM, Jim.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but anyway, on one of the radio networks, he brought up that the Yankees and the Marlins have been talking about Sandy Alcantara, and he's saying that there's a really good chance that that could happen, right? And to me, it makes a lot of sense. The Yankees do need starting pitching, right? I know we got guys coming back, right? Yeah, Cole is coming back, and Rodon is coming back, but they're both coming back from surgeries. So you don't know how these guys are going to be when they do return, right? There's no guarantee. Yeah, we could hope and we could assume that Cole's going to be Garrett Cole when he returns. We could assume that Rodon's going to be fine when he returns, but we just don't know. So there's question marks there. Then you have question marks with the rookie, the young kid, Schlittler and Will Warren. Both of them pitched, more innings than they've ever pitched in their career in one season, right? So you had those two guys. Max Fried pitched the most. He started the most games he's ever started in a regular season, right? So you add that. So there's a lot of question marks. How are these guys going to respond to having those seasons? Are they going to just be fine, with no injuries again, and they're going to be okay? I don't know. So I think it's paramount that I think for me with the Yankees, a starting pitcher is definitely their biggest need. So to get Sandy Alcantara. Yeah, he was bad in the first half of the season, but he was coming back from surgery. I think he had shoulder surgery, but so it took him at least half the season to really get back to what he used to be. And the second half of the season, if you look at his numbers, was much better. So I would be totally fine, but they are going to have to give up, it's either going to be Spencer Jones or probably Jason Dominguez. One of those guys is going to be moved. So I know Yankee fans, may not want to see those guys get traded, but I could definitely see that. Oh, he had Tommy John. So there you go. Yeah. So it took him about half the season to get back to his old self. So is that going to be how Cole's going to take? Is he going to take half the season to get back to his old self?
He might. Yeah. Right. It depends. Returning from that Tommy John surgery, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Listen,
everybody's different.
And getting him out of Miami, we always say, maybe these guys need, a fresh start, a change of venue, right? Going to the Yankees from the Marlins might just do them well. So I think if the Yankees can get him, I think the Yankees should take a chance. Let's roll the dice on him, right?
Yeah, I would be all for it. I think he's got another year of control with an option year, maybe. So I would be totally fine with that. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Like I said, they need starting pitching. I know, people like, oh, they got, all these guys coming back and they'll be fine in a month. We don't know how these guys are going to be when they return. Like, we just don't know how Cole's going to be after Tommy John. We don't know how Rodon, and they say Rodon's injury, getting the bone spurs removed, that's usually, a warning sign for Tommy John down the road. So that's something else to think about with that guy, right? So I think to get a guy a little younger in here, I mean, Sandy he's 30 years old, so he'll be 31 next September.
All right.
But right now he's signed for this year and next. He's signed for this year with a club option for 2027 at 21 million. So if he pitches well, 21 million is a steal for that guy.
I agree with you. And pretty soon on an upcoming show, we're going to have a sports medicine doctor. I already talked to him. We just have to book that. That'll probably be in a couple of weeks, which I really want to get someone on so we could talk about these injuries, somebody who knows about these injuries.
Definitely.
And could explain it better than us. So I'm looking forward to that. In fact, Ed Lynch said he would love to come on that show.
That would be great, because he's obviously had some experience with these injuries, so he could talk firsthand on them as well. Yeah.
So that should be.
I think that's going to be a great show.
All right, now moving on, Chris. You have the other night I started something where I named some Yankee players that you forget played for the Yankees. All right, so we went through those. Do you have some Met players for me?
Yeah. All right. I'll start with the easy one. Gary Sheffield, even though it was the last year of his contract, last year of his career, but he played a little bit.
Yeah, he hit his 500th home run as a Met. So he was with the Mets for that 1 year and hit his 500th home run as a New York Met. So that's an easy one.
What about Bobby Abreu?
For how many games did he play though?
78 games.
78. People just forget about that.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't forget about it because I was looking up a few things. But yeah, he played 78 games for the Mets. So that's another one where, that's kind of shocking. You don't remember that.
All right, here's a good one. I know the 2007 season is one that you want to forget.
Yeah.
But do you remember Jeff Conine being on that team?
Yes, I do. I do remember Jeff Conine being on that team. He hit all right for the Mets, from what I remember, didn't he?
He served as a pinch hitter and backup first baseman down the stretch.
Yeah.
He hit 195 in 21 games.
I guess he didn't.
A 7-game division lead with 17 to play.
Yeah, no, they blew that, we know, against the Marlins. But I thought, I don't know, I thought he hit a little better. I guess not. But yeah, that year was bad.
Here's the one that I totally did not remember. I'm looking at it. I don't remember. In 2008, Trot Nixon.
Trot Nixon, yes, I remember that. And that was another year that we want to forget.
He played 11 games for you guys. And he hit his last home run. Yeah,
remember that's when I was I was a season ticket holder, so I was at a lot of games at Shea Stadium. So yeah, I remember he was a Met, and that was another year where the Mets blew it. That's the year. Okay. Not only did the Mets blow it against Miami, the last game of the season, but that's when they closed Shea Stadium, and they had the brilliant idea of let's have the ceremony after the game. So this way, everybody who's depressed and pissed off now has to sit through the closing of Shea Stadium. And it was that was another disaster. Thank you, Will Ponds. Another friggin' disaster.
Another name from 2007. What about Chan-Ho Park?
Yes, I know Chan-Ho Park was a New York Met. I remember because they were talking about Japanese players.
One game, and he threw 4 innings and gave up 7.
And then they got rid of him.
Yeah,
they DFA'd him. Yep, I know that was another one. Go ahead, keep going. I know all this stuff.
All right. What about Jose Valverde?
Yeah. How many games did he play for the Mets?
Let me see. He won a job at the back end of the bullpen. He even closed out a pair of victories before things went south. With Valverde, 5.66 ERA on May 26th, the Mets released him.
Yeah.
And he never pitched again.
Yeah, and you can't blame him. That was it. And yeah, Joe, I don't know if Chris is going to bring up George Foster, but George Foster actually.
No, I remember. That was a big signing for you guys.
It was a big signing. So that's not everybody knows, and everybody knows what happened in '86 with George Foster. And that actually brought Lee Mazzilli back to the team. And Lee Mazzilli got to win a World Series with the Mets because the Mets got rid of George Foster.
Another guy, this is 2013. He's remembered more for something else, but Rich Ankiel.
Yeah, he switched positions when he was with the Cardinals. In fact, when the Cardinals played the Mets in the 2000 in the National League Championship Series, he was having all sorts of problems. I was there for every game then. So yeah, I remember that.
And it started off pretty bad because it says the most memorable night of Ankiel's 20-game tenure occurred on the day he arrived because his equipment bag did not make it to Busch Stadium in time. Ankiel borrowed pitcher John Neese's glove, then dropped a 7th-inning liner that led to a tie-breaking run. 5 weeks later, his career was finished.
Get traded to the Mets, career over.
Right. You could say that about a lot of these guys. Yeah. Just a couple other guys they mentioned in this article. Frank Catalanato, Long Island native.
Yeah, Long Island native. He didn't play that many games for the Mets.
Just 25 games.
Yeah.
And lastly, a guy from the Red Sox again, Brian Dahlbeck.
Yeah, Brian Dahlbeck. He wasn't on the Mets that long.
Just 15 games.
Yeah. That was a good list, Chris.
Yeah.
I like this. We could do this not only with the Mets, we could do this with some other teams too, like with players you would never think played for another team. So, that was good. That was good. I had a good time.
Some
with
names,
that.
like I said, I tried Nixon. That blew me away
Yeah.
because I did not remember him. I don't remember Ankiel.
Well, we listen. We could do this with players who played for the Mets and the Yankees. Dick Tidrow, he pitched for the Mets. Not that long, wasn't
Right.
good, but he did. He
Wasn't
played for
good.
the Mets and Yankees. Okay, I mean, you could just start that. Dave Kingman. Dave Kingman played for the Yankees. Only
Very
a couple.
little.
Yeah, very little. But that was
the
a year
season.
when.
I think he played on 4 teams or something.
Yes,
Right?
he played on a team in each division. That's when the Mets traded him. The Midnight Massacre, when they traded Seaver, they also traded Dave Kingman in '77, and Kingman ended up playing in each of the divisions that year, which is
He
crazy.
wasn't liked, right? Was that his thing? Is that why he jumped around so much?
Okay, I'm going to tell you what happened with Dave Kingman. He was definitely not liked by sports writers. He was very nasty. He dumped ice on, I don't know if it was a female reporter, but he had trouble with female reporters being in the clubhouse. He was just like nasty. But the funny thing is, the fans in 1976, he was having a great year where they were talking about, him possibly breaking Roger Maris's home run record, but he got injured in the outfield and he screwed up his thumb. And that was it. But he was hitting a lot of home runs.
He led the league twice in home runs.
Yeah, but
142.
He wasn't liked by the media. He wasn't liked by a lot of his teammates.
Can you guess the other 2 teams he was traded to in '77?
The Padres, the Yankees, and I think the Angels.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
And
I got all 4 of them.
You know what was crazy? In 1986, he was 37 years old with the A's.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He hit 35 home runs and drove in 94 RBIs.
Yeah, he had a good year that year for the A's. He actually had some good years for the A's.
He would be the prototypical player now. Big strikeout guy, low average, but a lot of home runs.
And also he had when he was at the Cubs, he in Wrigley Field, that was
1 year he hit 48 for the Cubs.
Yeah.
But that year he also struck out 131 times, led the league. So
I'm a Viking at Mets trivia.
Okay.
Yeah, I've forgotten more than a lot of people have ever known about Mets trivia. Where does that get me? Gets me on the show with you, Chris. So
there you go. All right,
that's pretty cool.
And,
but no,
it's
Chris,
going to get us in a book later on. So we're good.
Yes, we're gonna be in somebody's book, but that's another story. All right, so we talked about the winter meetings are coming up in Orlando, December 7th through the 10th, right? That's when they have the Rule 5 draft and the Hall of Fame Eras Committee meets. All right, so why don't we talk about that? These are the guys that are on that ballot, right? Where the Era Committee, committee votes these guys in. Listen, everyone on that list, you could say is a Hall of Famer. All right, we have the steroids guys, Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, okay?
And Sheffield. You got to put Sheffield in that.
Yeah, and Sheffield too. All right. But every one of those guys is better than the worst person who's in the Hall of Fame. Okay? Every one of those guys is better than the worst player in the Hall of Fame. So let's go. So. Do you think Barry Bonds deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, Chris?
Listen, you said it earlier. I think they all deserve to be in. Okay, I'm one of those guys. Listen, and there's guys in there already that that did use PEDs, right? We know that, and to not put in guys like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and even Sheffield to hit 500 home runs, how do you not put those guys in, right? So easily Bonds, Clemens, Sheffield, 100% deserve to be in. But I think for this, who I think I don't think they're getting voted in, right? Just because of the PED connection. I don't
Yeah.
think these guys are ready to.
I
put them
agree
in,
with
right?
you.
So I think we could scratch those 3 guys off. Let's start with Delgado. You think he's got a shot?
Listen, I liked when he was on the Toronto Blue Jays. He was great, right? He was also great as a Met. I mean, he was on that 2006 Met team. He also was on the teams that collapsed, but he was also excellent on the Mets. You know what? I think Delgado belongs in. I'm going to tell you. I think, and my cousin Sally says Jeff Kent. Yeah, Jeff Kent should be in. I think
Absolutely.
everyone on this list should all go in or should be a Hall of Famer. Like you said, Sheffield, 500 home runs. Think about that. 500 home run. Okay.
Murphy, 2-time MVP.
Two-time and consecutive. Okay.
Right.
He consecutive. So definitely
Jeff Kent hit the most home runs as a second baseman.
Yes, and the media, listen, the media hated Jeff Kent, right? And Jeff Kent, when he was on the Mets, he wasn't the greatest guy, all right? New York media hated him. He didn't like playing in New York. He didn't like playing for the Mets. So, but you can't go, I hate that when they say the baseball writers don't like a player, so he's not in the Hall of Fame, right? There's always some idiot like Ichiro. We always say it. One guy didn't vote for him. I mean, that's so stupid.
Yeah, it's not right. It shouldn't be a personality thing. As long as the guy didn't do anything off the. I could see that if they bring in the character cause on some of these guys, but not with Ichiro. Ichiro is, was great on and off the field.
Yeah,
I agree. Bell should
but Albert Bell's not on this list this year. He may be on another year. Yeah, his next size is Triple D. Yeah, Gary Sheffield, definitely. I mean, what a hitter. And Fernando, listen, he really changed baseball when he pitched. In Los Angeles, it was an event for him to pitch in Los Angeles. So he's another one. All these guys, we agree they deserve to be in. Although, Bonds, Clemens, and Sheffield, you have the steroid issue going on.
But who do you think gets voted in, if anybody? Because obviously that could happen too.
Okay, well, this is what I want to talk about. My guess is, I think Mattingly gets in.
Okay. Yeah, I hope he does. I'm with you.
All right. I think. Listen, but and he's on a different committee. All right. He's with the other committee. Keith Hernandez is going to be, because he's older and he played before Mattingly. But if Don Mattingly goes in the Hall of Fame, Keith Hernandez should be in the Hall of Fame. Their stats are so close, right? Yeah. Hernandez played 17 seasons. Mattingly played 14 seasons. Hernandez hit 296. Mattingly hit 307. Mattingly has home runs over Hernandez with 222. Hernandez has 162. But their RBIs are similar, right? 1,099 for Mattingly, 1,071 for Hernandez. And the hits, Hernandez had 2,182 and Mattingly had 2,153. Okay, the Gold Gloves. Mattingly had 9 Gold Gloves. Keith had 11 consecutive Gold Gloves, so that's the most ever. Right. And remember, both won MVPs. Keith was a co-MVP winner, but also Keith won 2 World Championships, one with the Cardinals and, of course, the '86 Mets. So, what do you think about Mattingly and Hernandez? Do you think if one gets in, that the other one should get in?
Yeah, I think so, because they, like you said, they're really similar. I mean, Mattingly retired a little bit earlier than expected because of not really more for his back. If you hear him talk, it's more for family reasons. He wanted to be, home with his son at the time. So you got to put that into your thought process with him. But yeah, I think if Mattingly gets in, and I'm with you, he might get in this time. So it's for me, I think this time around, it's Mattingly and Murphy. because, like I said, you could knock out Bonds, you could knock out Clemens, and you could knock out Sheffield, right? Because of the PED connections with those three.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
And Kent, for some reason, like you said, nobody likes him. I have no idea why. The guy's he hit the most home runs as a second baseman, so he should be in by now. I don't know why it makes no sense. Just because you don't like the guy, he's not in. But and Delgado, listen, the guy hit 400 and what I just looked it up, 473 home runs was Delgado, but he's only a 2-time All-Star, 3-time Silver Slugger.
You have to, Chris, you have to remember a little. There's something else with the Delgado. The writers also had a problem with him because he wouldn't stand for the national anthem. Remember that. So that's another thing they might have.
Yes. They are.
Yeah, and Kent,
I agree.
Yeah, that's true.
Sadly, if you hurt one of their feelings, that's it. They're going to shut you out. So
we'll see what happens. It's going to be really.
I just hope, you know what? I hope someone does get in. I hate when they come back and they say, oh, they couldn't agree on nobody getting voted in, because, like we said earlier, all these guys deserve to be in. So I'm really hoping at least one gets in. And they don't come back and say, no, nobody got in, because I think they have to wait how many more years until they're back on this ballot. And who knows, they may not be back on the ballot. It's just the whole voting process is stupid. It makes no sense. They got to fix it. And until then, we got stuff like this we got to worry about.
I agree. All right. So let's go into Steve Cohen and what's going on with Steve Cohen. All right. Yeah, Steve Cohen got some really, really great news that him and the Hard Rock Cafe were awarded the casino license in Queens. So it's going to be an $8 billion project. It's going to change that whole area from all the junkyards and all the crap that's there to, who knows there's going to be a casino, there's going to be hotels, there's going to be restaurants, it's just going to change. Yeah. The traffic's going to probably suck.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, the traffic now getting in and out of that parking lot is ridiculous when you go for a game or a concert. So I can imagine if you add all this other stuff to that area, it's going to be ridiculous how bad it's going to be. But yeah, I could imagine the financial windfall that Mr. Cohen's going to have from all this is going to be pretty good. So, because you got the hotel there, now you're going to have a casino and all that. And you also got, isn't the stadium, another stadium is being built, right? The one for NYC is going to be the soccer club. So
for the soccer club.
You're going to have a casino, you're going to have a hotel, and you're going to have a stadium, a new soccer stadium in that area. So imagine all of that and trying to get in and out of there for a game or whatever, or a show, concert, all that stuff. So I think people that have to live there, around there, they cannot be happy. They're probably the most miserable people right now. And if I lived there, I would not be happy about this. But it's better than having, like you said,
the junkyard.
Yeah, the whole junkyard thing there. That's been there.
The chop shops. The chop shops. That's what it is. Yeah, listen, and this is what's crazy. They're shooting for a June 2030 opening for all of this stuff. That's just crazy. That's crazy. I mean, that's right around the corner,
4 years, right? 4 years away.
Now my question is, you have all this stuff going on. You want to have a great New York Mets baseball team because you want people to leave that stadium happy so that they go over to your casino and they're happy and let's play.
This is going to play into everything. Like, now that he's got, listen, he didn't need all this extra money, trust me, but now he's got even more money to throw at the Mets if he can, right? Because next year, as we know, if there is a cap, all that extra money is not going to mean anything. It's going to go back in his pocket, obviously, but it's not going to mean anything for the team because you can only spend so much with a cap, right?
Yeah, that's true.
If a cap is included. So we'll see. That's another year, and that we have to worry about that. But listen, this is only going to be better for the team, because if he can't make the team better you know what, he'll add to the stadium in some way, right? Or he'll
Right.
make the locker rooms better or stuff like that. The whatever. He'll improve the team in some way, without a doubt. You could tell
I
the way he's doing it now. So I think it's only a
definitely.
good thing.
Definitely. Okay, I wanted to bring up something else. Jabba Chamberlain, right? He's been in the news. In fact, we almost had Jabba on the show that one night, remember?
Yeah, I
We,
hope we could get him on. I think we got to reach out to him again, and maybe he'll come on this time.
yeah, he was all set to come on, but he had plans with his son, and then I guess he didn't get back in time for a Friday night show. But anyway, so what's going on with Jabba and Kevin Youkilis?
Well, basically, he said on another show, another podcast, that if there was anybody that, the person asked him, the host asked him, was there any player that he never got along with? And he said the one guy I never got along with was Youkilis, because he was on Boston, so there was always issues there, obviously. And then when he got traded to the Yankees, or when he signed with the Yankees, Jabba reached out to him, and he never wrote back, or he never texted him back, whatever it was. He never called him back. So, and then when he came into camp, he was, trying to be all buddy with him. And I guess he didn't like that so much, but he was like, listen, when he's on the team, that's one thing, but off the field, yeah, he basically said whatever he'd said about him. So, listen, like we could go back to the whole thing with Lindor and Soto. Like,
Right.
it's being blown way out of proportion. Like, nobody knew about Youkilis and Jabba years
At
ago,
all.
right? Nobody knew
Right.
about that because nobody cared. Like, it is what it is. Oh, they're not friends? Okay. Jeter and A-Rod famously were not, friends when they were on the team. Earlier, before that big article came out, the interview with A-Rod and
Yeah.
whatever. But when they played, they played. That's it. It is what it is. Your teammates, when you put the uniform on, that's what you're playing for. You don't care if the guy next to you is your best buddy, he's your teammate now. So that's why I don't think it's a big deal. And that's why I don't think it's a big deal with Soto and Lindor, just because he dresses flashy, we said before.
I know. And a lot of that's fan driven too, and back and forth on X. You Met fans and Yankee fans are like, Met fans are saying, "Oh, can't you Yankee fans let go already about Soto?"
I know, just let it go. He's gone, and you know what? He's happy. He's happy with the contract he signed. He signed the largest contract in baseball history, in sports history. He's happy with that contract. Trust me, he's happy playing for the Mets. He does not care. He's good. So it does not matter. Like, I don't care. Like, we've talked about it so many times. Like, he went for the good deal, the better deal for himself. Good. Go for it. He's happy. We've moved on. Most of us moved on. Some fans have not moved on. So I think it's time. He's not coming back. He's not getting traded. The Mets are not trading him back here. So it's the end of that's it. He's a Met.
Chris, you got over it the minute after the World Series was over that year when, he turned the Yankees.
When he did that, it showed. And what he said that night, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it was great. It was, I love the time with the Yankees. But you know what? He put the hat back. He became a free agent. And he said it that night, right after the game. He goes, every team I'm open to signing with every team. So that showed you what happened with the Yankees meant nothing.
Yes.
It was nice. Trust me, it was worth the trade because they made it to the World Series, right? Correct. So it was great. And they had that whole year to kind of, wine and dine him. Like when a guy's a free agent, right? You get that weekend, maybe that night to kind of show him around the city or whatever, or around the complex, whatever you got to do. Like they literally had a whole year to do that. And they did. And the fans gave him everything, every possible feelings towards him. And he still went with the Mets. So it is what it is.
You're definitely right. But anyway, Chris, this hour is over already. I can't believe how fast it went today. Yes. And I want to thank the audience because we actually have a huge audience right now.
Yes.
Huge for a Monday afternoon. It's like insane, really, if they could see the numbers.
Yeah, hey, so we appreciate it too.
We definitely appreciate it. It's crazy. The numbers are crazy for today. But we'll be back Friday night at 9 p.m. check us out because we may have a guest. We might have.
Yeah, that's what might happen. I could see that happening.
No, yeah.
That's very possible. But listen, all the people that have joined us, and if you like our show, if you like what we're talking about, listen, hit that sub button on YouTube, and you could come back. You know, we usually do Mondays at 3 and Friday nights at 9, or during the season we'll do 10 o'clock. You know, because usually the games are over. But if you like what you're hearing and you want to be a part of the show, just hit that sub button, and we'd love to see you in the comments and watching.
Yeah, like today, a lot of you guys were commenting, and we had fun, and we appreciate it. But all right, Chris, we will see everybody on Friday night at 9 p.m.